All right, we're all set. Let's go. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, in the name of His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I, Jah Rastafari, ever living, ever fearless, ever sage. Is Rastafarianism still something? I don't know. It was in the 70s and the 80s. It's probably shot, right? I don't think it exists anymore. But anyways, they cracked me up to say all that. So anyways, greetings, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. I know that I did. It was a blast. I work hard during the week and I peace out a lot during the weekends. So take it easy and I love it. But anyways, we're Monday and we're going to start off our day like we always do. We're going to go over to the computer. We're going to check out a quick recap of what we did on Friday just to refresh our memories, and then we'll tackle our day from there. So, what did we do? We started off, of course, by putting on the second coat of the light gray paint around our hourglass. And then after that, we added the first coat of these little plants, these leaves, just to fill in our background of our painting. So that is basically what we did last Friday. So what are we going to do today? Well, today we're going to basically finish off or work some more on the hourglass. And then I'm going to put a second coat on the leaves because I can see right through them. I know from the camera you can't really tell, but if you're standing where I am, you can basically see right through. And most colors I use, no matter what color I use, I always have to put two coats if I want something nice and opaque. So anyways, that is basically what we're going to do. So I am going to mix up a bunch of gray paint, and then we're going to work on this hourglass. I'm going to bring over camera number one a little bit closer, just like that, where I'll be able to zoom in. So I'm going to put it a little bit offside because I don't like being in front of the lens. There we go. I'm going to get this all ready. I guess I can zoom in just a whisker more. There we go. And now I'm just going to come over here and get my gray paints together. So, I guess I can do that. Can I bring this over? Maybe I should bring this a little bit closer. Why not? Why not? Why not? So let's just do that like that. And I can come over here and I'll make my gray paint as I'm trying to figure out what's going on in the studio. Another challenge, besides concentrating on my painting. So I got the black paint together. Now I'm going to add a little bit of white paint. First I'm going to clean off my knife because keeping the materials clean is vital. There we go. And we'll add some white paint. There we go. And I'm going to be blending this in as I'm painting because I'm going to be switching like between a whole bunch of grays at the same time. And I'm just really not, as you can see, the surface that I have to paint is very little. So I don't have to make a ton of paints. I can actually do this as I'm painting live and in color. So, okay, I'm going to have to switch and get a teeny brush for this. First, I'm going to just start blending and getting like a little gray scale of paint, just like that. And then as I go along, I will add or subtract black or white to find the right hue. So, got that done. Now let's find the right paintbrush. Like I said, I'm going to need something quite small to start off with, like this, or maybe even this, and maybe even this as we go smaller and smaller. Okay? This looks pretty good. So, camera number 1 is pretty much zoomed into where I want it. Well, let's bring the Instagram in now. Why not? I hope everything is not... there we go. And again, I'll probably be in front of the lens, but there's not much I can do about that. I don't like being in front of the lens, but that's the way it goes. So, where am I here? I am still on camera number 2. Let me switch over to camera number 1. And before I start off, I'm just going to check the computer, make sure everything is okay. And apparently everything is okay, no drop frames. So that's pretty good. Yes, so you understood that today this is what's going to happen. It's just going to be working these little by little. And since I'm right-handed, I am going to start always with the left-hand side and work my way like that. Sometimes I just jump back and forth. And the simple reason is that I don't want to put my hand in the paint and make a huge mess. I already make a mess pretty much as is, so if I can avoid it, it's even better. So, let's see what kind of a color I have here. That's right, all I'm doing is just shading here, a bunch of shading. Of course, there will be a black outline around everything. So if I screw up a little bit, I can always catch up later, especially like on very thin areas like this little trickle here. I'll have to do with the black outline and then probably come back and fix whatever. That's the process, right? Just get the first coat down, and then we work things little by little, especially as the paint dries, because the paint has a tendency to darken when it dries. So sometimes it's hard to judge, especially when you're trying to do something kind of subtle. Now, if there's a lot of contrast and you're on the camera, it looks great. But when you're in real life, too much contrast, doesn't look that good. So you have to just find that right, discrete shading that makes everything look a little richer, gives it more depth, but at the same time, kind of subtle. Right there, that's way too dark. So I'm going to step back, take a look. And I'll just switch paintbrushes to get the lighter, just a little trickle down on the edges here. Oops. So I have a feeling that's going to be too light. I just need to bring in a tad of gray in here. So I'm going to zoom in with camera number 1 a little bit. Like that, I'll have more materials when I edit my movie. There we go. Just like that. There we go. course, all this will take shape once the black outline is put on. That's for sure. So, very good. Let me pull this baby back a little bit here. So I'm going to add a little bit of shading to the background of this, but first I'm going to do the second coat of my blue paint, just because like that I can put my hand down and I don't have to worry about screwing things up. So that is the next step. So I'm just going to come over here to camera number 2. And what should I do? I'll bring this baby over here maybe. Why not? While I'm getting my blue paint. So basically what I used was a cerulean blue, and I added just a little bit of, wait a minute. Yeah, that's what I did, right? And I added a little bit of white to it. I want the cerulean blue to be kind of dark, because I will put a lighter blue for details later. So let me grab a palette. Here's one right here. There we go. And just a little bit of white paint to lighten it up. Not too much. There we go, just like a little. Just like a little peanut's worth of white paint. Again, keeping the materials clean. Of course, for me, this would be called clean, right? And so, right? It's a clean paintbrush. Not whatever. I mean knife, not paintbrush, knife. So I have that done. Now I need to find the right paintbrush for the cerulean blue, and this looks like it's going to be perfect. So let's blend this stuff in. I will bring camera number 1 over right here. This is not at all the way I usually do things, but it doesn't matter. Since we are juggling with Instagram on top of the YouTube, there we go. As long as I don't screw everything up, which I probably will do. So anyways, so let's pull this up right here, because I don't have the juggling with 2 cameras at the same time right here. But anyways, there's our cerulean blue. There's our little white paint. This is from last Friday here, so it's harder than rock. So this is what we're just going to blend in right here, just to make the cerulean blue just a little bit lighter. We're going to be adding a little bit of water to this because it's pretty thick. So let me do that right now. Get a big blob of water. And I can tell that I'm not going to have enough for all my leaves. So I'm just going to add a little more of the cerulean blue. And that will also make it a little bit darker, which is just fine by me. So I added quite a bit more of the blue, as you can tell right here. So let's just blend this in. I'm going to have to bring in some water as well, just so the paint is the right consistency so it glides on the canvas. I mean, to enjoy painting, you basically need 3 things. You need your paint to be the right consistency, you need to have the right paintbrush, and you have to be in the position where you're comfortable. If you can get all of those 3 things together, well, painting should be a pretty enjoyable process. At least it is for me as well. So, this looks at least the right color. Now, if it's a little lighter or a little darker than what I have there, it really doesn't matter. I'm not that picky. I just know that I want to go with dark and then a lighter cerulean blue for the details. So this looks pretty good and nice and creamy right here. The question is that too thick or not? Now I know the second coat doesn't need as much as the first coat, because this coat here basically is just to hide the paintbrush, the strokes from the first coat, and to give us the final color that we want. So, and I don't have to get very close to the edges as well, since there will be, first of all, an outline of lighter cerulean blue for the details, and then on top of that there will be an outline of black paint to make everything stick out more. So I don't have to be too picky at all. So, is this the right consistency now? Looks pretty good. I just hope, well, you know what? I'm gonna just throw in one fat drop of water to make it a little more liquid. But I also want to keep it nice and opaque as well. But I want to make sure I have enough paint to cover all my leaves. I would have to hate to remake some more paint to finish off the last 4 or 5 leaves, because then you have troubles finding the right colors to match what you did before. So that looks pretty good right there. Let me bring camera number 1 back to its position here so I can edit my movie later. Let's zoom in, maybe start like that. And I guess we'll bring this Instagram camera back here as well. Why not? There we go. I mean, I don't know. Can you zoom in with an Instagram camera with my phone? I have no idea. I should maybe go on YouTube and see if I can play around with these films. I really haven't dove into that kind of. So let's go to camera number 1 and let's start painting here. And it's slightly lighter, but as I said before, when the paint dries, it has a tendency to darken, so I'm not too worried about it. No need for me to get to the edges, as I mentioned also, because there'll be plenty of paint to go around. Basically what I'm doing is just a second coat of the background. That is all. And this is perfect. If it doesn't dry too dark, this is perfect, because I thought this first coat was a little dark for my taste. So this is working out just right. And as you can see, this is why I want the paint to glide on, because it goes so quickly and it's so much fun to do. There we go. Now let's get up here. And here either, I don't need to get this close to the edge. There's going to be a black outline all the way around. But for some stupid reason, I can't help myself. I guess force of habit. And there we go. Okay. Very nice. And I can tell I'll have plenty of paint, because I did get the right consistency on this. So it's nice and thick, and yet covers a lot of area. So maybe I'll zoom in just so I can edit that leaf in my montage. just to make the editing more interesting. There we go. It's usually when I do these close-ups that I screw up. Of course, right? Bringing my attention to what I'm doing. And that's when I screw up. So there we go. Now I can pull this back a little bit. I guess something like that. That looks okay. Is that in the way of the Instagram? I don't know. I'm getting all confused. I have no idea how this looks. I hope it's not too choppy on Instagram. Maybe I'll save the stream at the end just to take a look at it and see how this all looks. Because if it's all choppy and it doesn't look good, well, maybe there's no point of continuing doing both YouTube and Instagram. We'll see afterwards. There we go. Very good. Let me bring this baby back here. And we are going to go down right about in here so I can zoom this baby up. Just like that. See, this is why I didn't do the background, so I can put my hand down and be comfortable while I'm painting. Because when I do the shading here, I don't really need to lay my hand down. All I'm going to be doing is tapping a little bit of darker gray, just to give it a little bit of depth, make the background richer as well. But when I'm doing these leaves, I have a steadier hand, of course, if I can rest it on the canvas. I know it all makes sense, but anyways. Oh, I just love it when it glides like that. So enjoyable. Okay, so I guess I'm going to grab my chair to do these lower leaves. So, do I need to move anything, get anything out of the way? I don't know. Let's do it like that. I'll bring camera number 1 down and bring it back a little bit. There we go. Et voilà, voilà, très bien. There we go. Let's get these last 2 babies here. And this last guy. Again, no need for me to get this close, but I can't help myself. Okay, so let's now move to these last babies right here. So for that, I'm going to have to move camera number 1 over a little bit. I should give these cameras names instead of calling them number 1, number 2. There we go. And I guess we'll bring camera number 3 a little closer. There we go. Again, starting with the leaves that are on the left and work my way to the right so I don't put my hand in the paint, which I seem to do quite often anyway, so there we go. Yeah, later on I'll check out to see if I can zoom in with my phone while I'm doing an Instagram, because I would think it'd be a lot better if I could get just a little bit closer with the camera, but we'll see. Also, I'm not sure if my voice is carrying also, because I have a microphone for my YouTube thing, but does the microphone on the phone pick this up? I don't know. We'll figure all that out later. Right now, let's try not to screw up. There we go. Okay, come back to camera number 2. I can pull this baby back a little bit until we decide what we're going to do next. And what I would like to do next is just a little bit of shading in here. Now, last Thursday, I did some shading on this lower part right in here, and it turned out to be too dark, too much contrast. So I just screwed it. I went all over and did it over again with one solid gray, because again, it looks great on camera, but in reality, it looks pretty shitty if there's too much contrast. And unfortunately, the guys who buy my paintings, they buy them by standing in front of the painting. They don't buy them by watching my videos. So I have to cater to my clients in in real time. I mean, in live or whatever it's called. So anyways, so I have to come back over here and get my gray palette again. And this time I am going to get a stiffer brush. There we go. The soft brushes are great to put first, second coats on. And then to do the shading, a nice little stiff brush is the best, because all I do is just dab the paint on, just to give it like a little bit of a shading. And now this is where I'm going to have to be careful and actually find the right hue, so it's just slightly darker than that, which is what I screwed up on this lower part. So hopefully I'll be a little bit more concentrated to get the right. Like right there looks pretty good, but I think it's still a little dark. I'm going to use the light from my window, which is behind the cameras, to actually see if this is, and I'm going to have to make sure it's all well blended, because I don't want little black spots showing up either. So I want all this paint to be nice and homogeneous before I start dabbing it on the canvas. So what does this look like? Is this too dark, too light? I guess I'm going to have to just give it a little try. So where are we here with my cameras here? So let me just try it right here, right up here. It looks a little light, but let's see what this does. So it would be a little bit lighter. Why not? Why not? Why go darker? Just going to dab on like little clouds. Let me step back for a second. Knowing that it's going to darken as it dries, this might not be bad at all. Let me bring this baby over a little closer, maybe. Just a little bit, just little hints. And that might be a little too light, I don't know. We'll see when it dries. But I like it more here where it's more discreet, where you can barely see it. Like right in here looks better for me. We'll see. Bring back camera number 1 back a little bit. There we go. Whoops, that looks way too much paint. There we go. Just a little hint. So, not bad at all. Let me see if I can't get rid of, just to tone this part down a little. See, I see here where it's already drying, I can barely see what I did. So, I am not going to mess with it. I'm just going to wait for it to dry. And believe it or not, even you can touch it, you would think it's dry by the touch, and yet it's not completely dry. You have to wait really for the lower level, the sub-level of the paint to be totally dry. And usually you have to wait overnight for that. Just give it a little bit more right in here. There we go. Ah, fuck. So I don't know if you can see, but I put my hand right in the blue paint right in here. So that's exactly what I was saying. But it's no big deal because all you do is just take a rag and some water, and then basically you can just wipe it off just like that before it dries. Of course, once it's dried, well, you're screwed. So there you go. Okay, a screw up all fixed. And yeah, sorry for the cussing, but that's how it goes. I cuss an awful lot. On YouTube, they give you the choice, you know, is this for children or not? Obviously, I say no. Not because I paint nudity, but because I cuss too much. So, there we go. Nope. this to be just a little bit lighter. Nope. Need this to be a little bit lighter, I said. Okay, so I can see my shading as it's drying is really blending into the background. Which means I'm probably going to have to do a little bit over right here. And I'm going to wait till this part, and this part dries completely. But all in here looks like it could have been just a little bit lighter. But yet, when I'm standing back here, which is what, 3 feet from the canvas, it looks pretty good right now, but it's not totally dry. So I'm just going to leave that alone. And okay, so I think I'm basically done for the day because I have no idea. I'm still hesitating on several things, like what I'm going to do on my frame and the black outline. I like doing that all at the same time, so I have to finish my leaves. So tomorrow I'll probably put the details of the leaves. I'll check out this again, maybe start doing the black outline to this, and then we'll just work on this to make it better. The same with down below. So I think that's basically it. How long have we been here? It's been what, just about 50 minutes? 50 minutes, and that's good enough for me. I got a meeting with all the other people of our studios today as well. So let me move all this back here a little bit. Let me zoom out here. I'll put the camera way over here so I can have a view of the whole painting for my YouTube stream. There we go. And so there you have it. Well, I guess maybe I should end by turning off the Instagram stream. So I want to thank you very much for joining me. I hope you'll join me tomorrow. I'll be here and continue on this tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. like usual. And I want to wish you all a wonderful afternoon. Thanks for joining me, and I say ciao, mes amis. Okay? So that is the Instagram. Now for my YouTube. Again, I want to thank you for joining me. I hope you'll join me tomorrow for this craziness of all these cameras. And I'm going to leave you like I always do with two things. I'm going to leave you with my schedule, and I'm going to leave you by saying, ciao, mes amis.